even if you don't think you're going to use writing when you're older, if you can speak and write well, you will rise to the top in any situation.
Hello, and welcome to the Arts of Language podcast with Andrew Pudewa, founder of the Institute for Excellence in Writing, or as many like to say, IEW. My name is Julie Walker, and I'm honored to serve Andrew and IEW as the Chief Marketing Officer. Our goal is to equip teachers and teaching parents with methods and materials which will aid them in training their students to become confident and competent communicators and thinkers. Andrew, we get letters.
A lot of letters.
It's really fun to get these letters.
It is.
So
some by email, and some come with stamps.
With stamps.
In the old-fashioned way.
Indeed. And some of them are actually handwritten as well. Wow, how old school. Those are the most endearing ones, are they not?
They are, and unfortunately, I just can't keep up in responding. I have tried, and I go through my folder, and I'm thinking, wow, this came back last May, almost a year ago, and I never answered. And then I walk around feeling guilty until I write, once upon a time, I received a letter from you.
Yes.
But some of them are awfully cute, and some of them are really amazing in terms of the transformations that we hear happening in kids and classrooms and families.
So absolutely gratifying. So I have a little stack and you have a little stack, and so we just jump in?
I think people would enjoy hearing. I mean, some of that, I'll start with a humorous one.
Okay, great.
So I don't know the age of this student, but his last name, Quibbleworth. Salutations. I trust this epistle finds you in the pinnacle of grammatical perfection. My name is Jonathan, and I must confess, your linguistic prowess has left an indelible mark on my rather impressionable cerebrum. Your lectures, resplendent with syntactical elegance and semantic precision, are nothing short of pedagogical masterpieces.
Wow.
I must also take a moment to extol the magnificence of your most wondrous mustache. It is a paragon of facial hair, a veritable symphony of follicles that harmonizes with your impeccable sense of style. In my most humble opinion, your mustache deserves its own chapter in the annals of grooming history.
Wow.
In conclusion, I eagerly anticipate our next grammatical escapade. May your apostrophes never be misplaced and your semicolons always be perfectly poised. Yours, most sincerely, Jonathan.
Wow, Jonathan. That's a mouthful right there.
Well, it's healing for me because I once got a letter. Someone said, with your mustache, you look like Hitler.
Yeah.
And that was a hard one. But I don't know that Jonathan has seen my new expanded facial hair style that I carry around now with a fairly closely shaved, very white beard. But people still recognize me in airports. So.
They do. And of course, this student must have watched your structure and style video courses.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm guessing so.
Which is great. We have 7 years now of torture that you can present to students, actually delight. So I'm sure that Jonathan is looking forward to the next iteration of that video, unless he went all the way up to year 2.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. Certainly, he's got a vocabulary
Yes,
there.
he does. Yes, he does.
You're a veritable symphony of follicles.
Yes. I have a short little note from Crystal, who is responding to one of our customer service agents who reached out to her just to make sure everything went as we had hoped. And she replies, "Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to send an update email. I have received the main box that I was needing for continuing our daughter's education for Bible Heroes." So she's using one of our theme-based books.
Mm-hmm.
No video.
At a young age.
Yeah, at a very young age. Well, and she talks to that. We are very excited for her to start since she has been watching her older brother and his structure and style 1A. Eagerly, she asked when she was going to be able to start her big kid writing program, to which I replied when she started 3rd grade. To her dismay, she has been talking to everyone about how we are keeping her from writing great works. She is 6, I might add. So we looked into it more and found Bible Heroes. I'm very much looking forward to this year. Thank you for helping our family.
Oh, that's sweet. I've got another one from a student named Elijah.
Okay.
Again, I'm not sure about the age, but it does have kind of a humorous end to it. He sent the rough draft, which had been edited by, I assume, his editor. And so the heading on this page says refined draft.
Okay.
And I like that,
Yeah.
refined. Dear Andrew Pudawa, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude for creating such an excellent writing program. It is quite easy to follow along, easy enough to do by myself, doesn't require a single answer like math or science, and looks and sounds quite like the real thing when complete. Personally, I enjoy the imaginative styles where I am free to create a flowing story full of rich detail and enjoyable dialogue. In a report, you have to compile a bunch of facts, get rid of half the facts, and try to make it flow like a story.
So he's more like me, where he likes the creative rather than just the facts.
Yes, but I really appreciated his understanding of the whole Unit 4-6 process, right? Collect a bunch of facts, get rid of half of them, and try to make it flow. I think that I speak for everybody when I say that your jokes and lighthearted approach to teaching certainly makes your curriculum one of the pleasantest experiences in a dreary day of school. You certainly have outdone every other curriculum and outshone every other teacher. Well, that's an exaggeration. Sincerely, Elijah. But then it says flip.
Okay.
And on the back, P.S. I had to say a bunch of good things about IEW because companies never show their bad reviews.
Oh. Well.
That came in an envelope with a stamp.
That's cute. That's cute. So as you know, of course, Andrew, we have a schools department that is growing by leaps and bounds.
Yes.
And I have a letter from a school teacher. She was corresponding with her educational consultant. So we have, because schools are unique, they need maybe a little bit more hand-holding to figure out what curriculum will be appropriate for that class of kids. And so here is some correspondence that she had with one of our educational consultants. Good evening. I spoke with you about IEW for the school where I was teaching several months ago. I used it in my 4th grade class, and I was being assessed as it was my first year with this school. Always a little bit unnerving to know that you're going to be assessed, right? I have also been using Fix-It Grammar with my 4th graders. As it turns out, that was the lesson we did when I was being observed. I put the incorrect sentence on the board and listed things they needed to label. We then did it on the board, and my assessor was impressed. She said her 9th graders couldn't do what my 4th graders did that day.
Wow.
She then asked if there was anything else she could see. We had just done our first rough draft of camels. So this is
I remember that one.
From 1A, yeah. And I was able to have a student go up front and read her 2-paragraph rough draft. She was hooked. We have been approved to do IEW for the fall in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Would it be possible to speak with you again on the phone? Thanks so much, Gail.
That's great. With our schools clients, we, of course, work with a whole variety from, say, the special ed departments of no less than Chicago Public Schools.
You're right, exactly.
Order every year. We have a lot of classical schools, Christian schools, Catholic schools, charter schools using a classical approach, and, of course, the hybrid schools. So this is one to our hybrid schools.
Oh, great. Okay.
Contact Debbie. And it's a little bit long, so I'm going to have to pick a few parts of it.
Great.
But she said, this letter is overdue, but as of today, I've met with all but one of my families, so have even more appreciation for IEW to share with you.
So this is an independent study program.
Right.
Right. Got it.
My experience with IEW began several years ago. The elementary age students of one of my families were taking IEW classes offered once a week by some homeschool parents. The students told me about keyword outlines and shared their writing samples with me each month, but never seemed very excited about the classes. I was rather ambivalent about the IEW writing program, as it seemed like just another printing program with a different spin. Fair enough, right? What you see. Fast forward to last fall. On the recommendation of some friends, one of my families ordered Structure and Style with the Year 1 streaming option. This family used your program to fidelity. Love the use of that word, fidelity. Monthly, they would show me their work samples, the likes I had seen years before. My curiosity was piqued as the 5th and 7th grade boys began to tell me how funny Mr. Pudawa was and how much they liked his jokes. That was something I'd heard before. They told me how they watched the videos 4 days per week as they proudly showed me their work samples along with Fix-It grammar. Students, especially these boys, telling me they actually liked writing was new and news to me. Then I'm going to skip down a little bit. People who've done our SSS know that in the first lesson, I give them a prompt and no help, just cold. And then I throw them in a folder, don't look at them till the end, give them the same prompt, and then they get to compare. So this is very interesting. Our last meeting of the year in May of 2024, these 3 children shared with me the 15-minute writing exercise they did at the beginning and as well at the end of the year. The difference was astonishing and brought me to tears. You bridged a gap that I couldn't. These children born in America spoke Ukrainian as their first language, which their parents are most comfortable speaking. Try as I might, I didn't know how to help them write really well, but you did. And then I'm skipping down a little bit more. It's no surprise that the 3 American Ukrainian children are all continuing with IEW this year. I wasn't sure if it would be considered a full ELA curriculum for high school students, but Debbie showed me the scope and sequence page that has the literature suggestions. Yay! Yet another parent shared with me how happy she was to have the organization of IEW. When she first opened the box and saw all the things, she was overwhelmed because of her ADHD and had to close the box. A few days later, she told herself she needed to look at the curriculum again. She began to see how everything was laid out and already organized for her, and suddenly realized that it was not an overwhelming program, but quite the opposite. She wished she'd had this program for her 11th grade son and already graduated daughter, but was so happy her 7th grader will learn to write well. I think that's somewhat typical of what we hear. People can get a little overwhelmed, but as I said once on a video we used for a while, the hardest thing is just turn it on, start watching, and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get the results.
Yep. There are several pieces to our Structure and Style materials. You've got the videos, which if it's either streaming or DVDs. You have the teacher's manual, which will help guide you as you're taking your students. And as they're watching the DVDs, Andrew, they're watching you pass out papers. Well, we have all those papers in a 3-ring binder that needs to be assembled. So it's actually pretty easy once you just read the instructions. And I actually did a little video, an unboxing video, like this is how you put your binder together. Super easy. So we try to make it easy.
We try.
Yep. So I have a much shorter one, but this is also from our schools team. And this is to Evan, one of our educational consultants. Hi, Evan. I must say I am so impressed with the Structure and Style methodology. We're starting the techniques of Unit 1, and my freshmen are really taking to it. What's more is that we just started the public speaking part today. Read, think, look up, speak. And that part could not have gone any better. Even our special education teachers are shocked. I have never seen public speaking so elegantly integrated into a writing program before. So what I love about this is high school.
Right.
Sometimes we are overlooked when we're talking about high school because maybe it's too easy. We know that's not true. But they do start in Unit 1 where keyword outline, super easy to do, and then have the opportunity to tell it back, and then possibly have an opportunity to do public speaking just using their keyword outline, which is so So phenomenal, so enriching, so life-giving to these students to start learning this skill at a young age. So, and that was from Seth, one of our school teachers that's working with Evan to implement IEW in his school.
Great. Well, I love to hear stories of high school teachers that immediately see value, knowing that their experience using that in their classes is just going to get better and better and better.
Yep.
One thing that another kind of category of correspondence that I receive is from all grown-up kids.
Yes.
Who are now well into adulthood, but did not forget. So here's one from David, and it's a short one. He said, "Hello, I participated in an IEW curriculum about 20 years ago."
Wow.
So all our old stuff. And just wanted to share that it constantly crosses my mind and has since college. I have become a successful engineering professional and am regularly complimented on my writing and communication, which I largely attribute to the IEW classes and the teacher I had in grade school. I don't even remember much of my childhood, but IEW stands out, even though I disliked that it was one of my hardest things at the time. So thank you.
Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah.
And it's funny, I meet young teenage boys who will sometimes say things like, "Why do I have to learn this? I'm going to be fill in the blank. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to go in the military. I'm going to be a plumber. I want to be a computer tech guy." And I always say, even if you don't think you're going to use writing when you're older, if you can speak and write well, you will rise to the top in any situation, because it's, the best engineer. Okay, he stays a good engineer, and that's great. But the good engineer who can write and communicate engineering ideas well, he'll rise up into positions of influence and leadership, because every situation requires communication to maximize opportunities. So I loved that one 20 years ago, and he was probably 10, 11, 12. So now he's pushing 30 at least.
Yep.
And I don't remember much of my childhood either, but I'm sure glad IEW stand out for him. And he took the time to do this.
Yes. So I have a short one. Wow, I have a lot from schools, but this is a public school teacher who teaches at one of our Hillsdale schools. Her name is Laura, and she has started using Gradebook, IEW Gradebook. This is a new app it's a web-based app that we make available for teachers using our curriculum who are needing to provide feedback to typed papers, all the qualifications. IEW.com/gradebook for more information, but here's her testimony. "I use IEW Gradebook to grade final drafts, and I absolutely love it. It has made grading essays so much more streamlined and has simplified things not only in my classroom, but has also freed me up to spend time with my family. It is worth every penny."
Oh, that is beautiful to hear.
And that's really one of the reasons why we created this app, was for teachers who are overwhelmed with all the grading. We assign a lot, shocker, we assign a lot of writing in IEW, because the more you write, the better you'll get at it, provided there's a pathway. And now you have to provide feedback on these papers. How can we help them with that?
Watching the development of that app product, seeing how, teachers can add comments that they want to kind of have on hand. And so to explain something like why there should be a comma there or whatnot, now they can just click and boom, get the explanation for that right in the feedback they're giving to the students. And I always dreamed of that. And finally, it's come into fruition. So
we love making your dreams come true, Andy.
Yeah, I do think that for elementary age children, maybe even middle school, having them write at least the first draft on paper,
Yes.
and maybe then type it in, submit it, get it graded, and come back. That's the best way to go. But certainly we've talked before about the reason teachers don't do more writing assignments in schools is because the burden of grading those papers. So we are trying to help give them more time with their family.
Exactly.
a noble undertaking.
I think so.
So this is one from a mother who is talking about the poetry memorization
Nice.
and the effect that has had for years in her home. Today, my 14-year-old daughter received news that her poem placed in the top 10 in the nation in her grade level for Creative Communication Student Poetry Contest.
Oh, wow.
This is a website, poeticpower.com.
Okay.
And they have been doing this for a long time because one of their little ad teaser things on their website is that Taylor Swift in 5th grade, you think how long ago that was,
right.
placed in the top 10 with a poem she wrote.
Oh, wow.
And so, now
Did it ever become a song? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Probably not.
But listeners who have students that do like to write poetry might do well to go to poeticpower.com. And they have, I think, 3 contest periods each year. And they offer prizes, and they've given away millions of dollars in prizes over the past, however long they've been doing this, a couple decades, it seems. Anyway, continuing the letter. She is in a happy daze, and I am breathing a satisfied sigh. Back in the fall of 2019, my 4 daughters and I began using IEW's Linguistic Development Through Poetry Memorization program. Level 1, from a free sample. Since then, we have purchased the full program and continued learning poetry favorite hymns and scripture passages through daily practice. We are about halfway through level 4 now, and we would be farther except that we keep adding poems and hymns of our own choosing to the suggested list.
Brilliant.
Just this week, we are polishing up Paul Revere's Ride, and would you believe it, the 6-year-old can recite the poem right along with our 14-year-old National Poetry Contest winner.
Wow, nice.
I am satisfied that the many, many hours my family spent memorizing high-quality poetry was time well spent. We will most certainly continue this practice forever if I can manage it, and don't be surprised to hear that our daughters all become published authors and poets. Thank you for helping us get started on our journey of linguistic development. I'll keep recommending your poem to friends and family.
Right. And we'll put a link in our show notes to those free lessons so that, some of our listeners who've not experienced that can get a taste of that as well.
Can I read the poem?
Oh, please. Yes.
It's really beautiful.
Aw.
And something I've been thinking about recently in the last year or so. Do not call us dead, but past. Think how tears were shed at the last when our lives drew to a misty close, and our spirits flew and up arose. Do not mock us, mortal man, with monsters of the evil clan, with twisted zombies' darkened race. We are not those. We are like you. We are no foes. We lived once, too. Do not call us dead, but past. We have fled, and death holds fast, but things, though past, may yet return, and death itself shall die in turn. Nay, do not name us dead and gone, for still we tarry going on. We are not truly dead nor gone, but wait to come till break of dawn. Now heed this message you must learn. We've only passed and will return.
Wow, Andrew, that is remarkable.
I've read it 4 or 5 times and I get teary-eyed every time I do.
Yeah.
But this for me has been kind of the decade of death. So many, both my parents, both my wife's parents, even employees I've had, people I've known that died at an age younger than I have, and then, of course, older people. And we do so easily forget about eternity. And this poignant poem reminds so effectively. I do hope this girl continues to write poems and perhaps will publish a book of them someday. You never know.
Right. Well, minimally, we should get that in our next issue of our Magnum Opus magazine, because that is really, truly a great work. Well, I have one more to read for you. I think it is fitting that we're going to end with a letter from Tracy, and it's addressed to Mr. Poudois. This note is for Mr. Andrew, as he is referred to in our home. My concentration was interrupted first by the sound of a giggle, then a chuckle, then full-out laughter, snorting laughter. I met him in the hallway as I had left my desk, intent on refocusing my 15-year-old student child, another high schooler, right? With a wide smile and cheeks that were rosy and glistening with tears, he asked me to watch part of his Structure and Style for Students lesson, drawing me into the joy. I just wanted to say, thank you, Mr. Andrew. I love what you've done to my child. He often saves writing class for the end of the day because it's fun. It's his own personal reward for getting through the mandatory bits of homeschooling. I hope this note meets you on a day you could use a reminder about why you do what you do.
Oh,
Thank you, Tracy.
I love it. No comment possible.
Nope. So thank you, dear listeners and students of our listeners. We love getting your mail. We read everything. Andrew does, as he said, try to respond. But wow, that pile is growing. And we're just so honored to have you include us on your journey to better listening, speaking, reading, writing, and thinking.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please subscribe to our podcast in iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify, or just visit us each week at iew.com/podcasts. Here you can also find show notes and relevant links from today's broadcast. One last thing, would you mind going to iTunes to rate and review our podcast? This really helps other smart, caring listeners like you find us. Thanks so much.